Bill, we've had our best year in the history of the company.
Is that right?
Yep. 28 years.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And if you had more inventory, you'd have even a better year.
Well, it's not uncommon. I talked to somebody yesterday. We had 70 offers on one property.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just unfair.
That's
A normal buyer just can't compete.
Yeah.
There's so much cash out there.
By the way, can you see my screen?
I'm not on Zoom right now, but I'll switch to it.
Okay.
Yes, I see your screen, and I'll turn my camera on.
There you are.
I'm having my breakfast.
Turn mine on also. I'm having my matcha tea is what I'm having.
Chocolate protein shake with strawberries and blueberries. And super green and added fiber and collagen protein.
Wow. Gotta get you ready for the day, huh?
I'll be charged up in about 5 minutes.
Let me bring my desk up so I can stand. So how has the virtual world worked for you guys from training, keeping the troops excited about working and getting out there doing deals? I mean, you guys did it for years. You're like way ahead of that curve.
We've been Zooming for years, but our engagement has gone up. I mean, I had 110 people on my sales meeting on Tuesday.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot. That's 50% of producing agents.
Yeah, I think when I did some with you, we still had some good meetings though. We still had 70, 80, 100 people on some of those calls.
Yep.
I think you've made it so much part of their sort of routine, if you will. It's probably not the right word, but the way they do their business.
Well, it's just available. You can watch it on live. You can watch it recorded. We put it on our websites. It's out there. So we don't really know what the total engagement is because we don't know who watches at lunch or at dinner, but I know they do.
Yeah.
So it's very cool.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, it is 8:30 and the show shall begin. So Bill, you and I have known each other for a long time now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the founder or one of the founders of Home Partners of America.
One of the early members of the team. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And another Bill Young was the founder, but I was right there with him.
I met you. I mean, I'd known you, but I ran into you at a convention somewhere, and I had some passionate idea I was crazy about, and I shared it with you, and you liked it, and you got back to me, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. Do you?
Craig, I can't remember what I had for breakfast, and I just had it 10 minutes ago. Give me a break.
Well, I love the idea, and one of the things I wrote the agents last night when I told them about this meeting is I said, it's unfair. It's really hard when we're dealing with multiple offers like we are, 5, 10, 15. I mentioned one yesterday, 70 offers.
Wow.
It's really hard on the agents because we are pissing off the people who don't win.
Yeah.
And there are some real earnest buyers that, are FHA buyers that want to compete and want to get a home, but they get beat out by a cash guy.
Yeah.
I just bought a house for my daughter and I went in all cash and I don't have the cash, but I mean, I do, but I'm going to finance it anyway, but I'm going to pay cash for the house and then finance it later because I would not have won.
Right.
And there's a backup behind me who's a conventional buyer who actually wants to live in the house. I'm going to rent it.
Yeah.
And they don't have a shot. So I wrote the agents last night and said, Home Partners could be, I mean, the goal now is to get the house.
Yeah.
It's not to get a deal because the deal is in the financing because the rates are so low.
Yeah.
So if they're a normal FHA buyer, they're going to get kicked to the curb, or a VA buyer for that matter, because they can't compete. But I think you guys could help in that realm. They're going to pay a little more for the house, but they're going to get it.
Well, it's interesting, Craig, and now I do actually remember the idea that you and I talked about because it was with people that were using down payment assistance and how unattractive they were to sellers. So, VA, FHA unattractive to sellers. How much more if they have a Florida Housing Finance Agency down payment assistance sitting on top of that? And so for the ability for us to step in front of them as a cash buyer, which is your point, buy the house, and then they can take the entire year to close on that FHA / down payment assistance when they want. And frankly, I don't think they are paying more because we're getting it at a price they would have never got it at. Right?
Probably true.
Yeah, so we're probably getting it 2 or 3 points less than they would have. We're only adding 3.5 points to the deal, right? And so I think there are many cases where we have bought houses just in the last few months, a good 10,000 less than what a VA or FHA buyer would have had to pay because we were cash.
Well, we just had a deal in my neighborhood here where we put the house on the market at like, I forget the number, 540, 640, something like that. And they had a full price VA buyer and they took a $10,000 less offer from a cash guy because they wanted an answer.
Yeah, we see it all the time. As you know, Craig, we don't do appraisals, which is a big deal now.
Yes, it is.
We just had the inspection contingency. We're giving your agents $1 million proof of funds when they go in with the purchase offer. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Right. And no cash, no appraisal. I mean, all cash, no appraisal, no finance contingency offer. So I think you're right on target. This can really help a lot of agents that are getting frustrated with putting in offer after offer after offer just to have them fall on the ground.
And so my strategy, Bill, has been and will continue to be that I just say this all the time. Awareness gives you flexibility. Flexibility gives you options, and options give you power. So I want our agents to be aware that you're there. And I was talking to one of my managers last night, and the RealSure program from Realogy, which is powered by Home Partners of America, we pretty much stopped talking. I became unaware of it. I was aware of it and it went out of my presence, but you can also help a seller become a cash buyer for their next house.
Absolutely.
So there's just a lot of things we have to talk about. So I don't want to interrupt your presentation, but.
Well, to be honest, Craig, a lot of this presentations actually are ideas that I got from you.
That's cool.
Many of those conversations that we had in your boardroom, if you remember, the question I posed to you is, how do we take this lease purchase product and be able to generate leads with it? You've done it a lot with social media and things of that sort, but a lot of the ideas we're about to talk today really comes from you and your agents, which of course have been, our most productive team in the Tampa metro region. So you could do the presentation, but I get paid for doing it, so I'll go ahead and do it.
Okay.
But we really do appreciate the partnership we've had with you and all of your amazing agents. So thank you for having us here once again.
Well, it's our pleasure, and I thank you. But I want to put a couple more things out there. So there's a friend of mine who's a broker in Orlando, and before he opened his office, he was a team, and he, as a team, and you'll know him, did 180 transactions in 1 year with Home Partners.
Right.
I mean, that is double Centurion production, which is like $500,000 in commission. That's Kevin Johnson. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know Kevin. Used to be Bordeaux. Was it Bordeaux or Burr?
Yeah.
Yeah.
180 transactions. I mean, our agents, guys, listen to me. You've got a cash buyer in your pocket, and we don't take advantage of this as much as we should.
And in this market, and not to brag, but a multi-billion-dollar cash buyer.
Right. Yeah.
Just Our goal, by the way, Craig, in this year, that is 2021, we're finally here in 2021, right?
Thank God.
Is to do 2.3 billion. Our best year was 2018 with 1.6 billion. So we're here to do 2.3 billion. And by the way, our goal in 2022 is to do 4.6 billion. So we want to double twice in the next 3 years.
So guys, listen to that. You got a $2.3 billion buyer in your pocket right now who wants to do nothing but buy. And you're thinking about expanding to $4 billion next year.
4.6.
Let's call it what it is. So, all right, that's very cool.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think we need to call attention to, I saw a presentation with the Tampa Bay Builders Association this week, where they're forecasting Tampa Bay prices to go up 9%.
Wow. And we're locked at 3.5.
That is, you're locked at 3.5. So if you buy a Home Partners home, the price you pay next year is 3.5% more than the price this year. And if values go up 9%, then you've hedged your bet and made 6.5% just by borrowing money from Home Partners instead of the bank.
Essentially, you are. Yeah.
That's
I really
that's
think of it as a shared equity program when you think about it, because they're getting all the upside above 3.5%, but with no downside risk.
right.
If they decide not to buy it, get your security deposit back and move on. So
Yeah, but my challenge with that 9% growth is the appraisers can't keep up with it
yeah,
because we're not going to have the comps to justify the price it's going to take to win the bid.
yeah. Hence,
So
no appraisal is a big deal.
that's what was my point. So
Yep.
your no appraisal policy is very important. Okay, so I'll stop talking. I just want to have
Yeah,
that
well, one thing
introduction.
I do want to lift up outside of our partnership, which has been amazing, there's my contact information on the front page. You guys can see that, right, Craig?
Yes, Bill Goldsmith
Okay.
at homepartners.com with your
Yeah.
cell phone number. So guys,
right there
copy
next
that
to it.
down.
Yep, right there next to it. And I think you can attest, Craig, you call me, I'm back to you as quick as I can get back to you.
Got it.
And hopefully an answer. So what we want to do today is really dive into those marketing strategies. That is lead generation. We're really going to focus on lead generation today.
Well, Bill, let me interrupt for one more time
Yeah.
because, we hired 130 people last year,
Wow.
which is nice. And a lot of them don't really know. So let's do a quick
Okay,
recap
I
of
will.
what Home Partners is. And then let's just a real quick one and
Yeah.
then go into the strategies because we have Mike Puma.
Yeah, of course.
Mike has really taught our agents to be socially responsible on their marketing. So, and you've got some really great tools for them to use. And I hope all of you watching will take advantage of their tools.
And by the way, if you want Mike to give me a call, we just finished a multi-month analysis of the most effective Facebook ads.
Really? Well, Mike's
Yeah.
watching right now. He's actually moderating this call. So Mike,
Yeah,
if you want
yeah.
to jump in, you're welcome to say hi to Bill.
Yeah.
But he might be
No,
naked
Bill, I'll
for all we know.
definitely reach out.
Mike, how you doing? Yeah, I'd love to share our data with you, Mike.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely reach out after this call.
And I know you've got some great data too, so we'd love to have the two-way street conversation. So to your point, Craig, we actually started buying real estate in November of 2012. Bill Young, our president and CEO, and a group of us had this idea coming out of the foreclosure crises that at the very time the mortgage market was becoming very restrictive, there would be literally thousands, if not millions of households that were trying to get back into home ownership, and the mortgage market was going to be very tight. And so what we wanted to do was create a product that would allow them to move into the house that they pick out, not that we pick out, with a real estate agent, motivated by a full sales commission. So we buy the house, they move in as our resident. Let me back up a little bit. When we buy that house, you're paid your full sales commission. So this is not a rent-to-own program where you get paid your full sales commission if and only if the consumer buys the house from the owner. Plus, they're shopping the MLS. So it's not like I have 5 houses and I'm willing to do a rent to own on one of those. They're going to be shopping the MLS. And I will give you guys a tour of the website so you can see how it works. We buy the house, they move in as our resident. They're only committed to a 1-year lease with us with a standard security deposit. At the end of that year, if they decide not to renew that lease, get their security deposit back, no harm, no foul. But to your point, Craig, they're probably sitting on a bunch of equity. So go ahead and exercise that purchase right. They can stay up to 5 years as a tenant. That's really important. I think people miss that sometimes, Craig. They are locked in for 5 years. Now it's only a 1-year lease, but they have the absolute right to renew that lease up to 4 times all the way through the year 2026 now, and know they're going to live in a house that they picked out, and we give them the rent schedule for all 5 years right up front.
Well, let me just add to that because I think it's an important point. Most tenants don't get renewed or they get their rent raised by an amount they don't know year after year after year.
Yeah.
And the cost of moving is expensive.
And I think you would agree that a lot of landlords are cashing out.
No doubt. We need them to because we need inventory.
That's true.
We're actively calling them saying, hey, your house is worth more than you think. Put it on the market.
Yeah. And they don't, it's not their concern about the tenant, at that point, because they want to sell them, as owner occupied. So,
well, when I think about, just for fun, the AH4Rs and the Blackstones who bought thousands and thousands of homes in the day when they were 30% less than they are worth right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they could, and you guys, I don't know how many homes you guys own that. Do you want to liquidate any of your assets?
We don't liquidate our assets.
Damn. Come on. We'll list all your properties that people moved out of.
That really surprises me that you'd be willing to do that, but no, we hold them as inventory, as you know.
Right. And that's what Blackstone's and AH4Rs are doing too.
Yeah. They built a yield business, right? So they've done very well, both on yield and value, to your point. So we actually got started in, as I said, in November 2012. We had an angel investor give us $600 million. We bought 600 houses in Chicago, Denver, and Dallas. Those were our test markets. As Craig knows, in 2014, BlackRock joined us, not Blackstone, BlackRock, KKR, and actually the Texas Teachers Retirement System joined us. And so now we are in 70 markets. I think the last time I presented at your office, Craig, we were in 40. We're now in 70, and we'll be in 90 by the end of this year. And so we opened up Lakeland, which I think is a big deal for you guys. So that I-4 corridor is now fully covered. That was always
That's big because we've actually expanded to the Lakeland Orlando market too. So
yeah, Lakeland just opened like a couple of weeks ago. So you guys should jump all over that because you got good price point out there and good commute out there. Let's talk a little bit about lead generation. And Craig, I will give people a tour of the website, so we'll kind of get into that, the mechanics for the people who are new to us. We really break them down into two categories. One we call reactive, the other obviously we call proactive. Reactive really just means having your antenna up. Someone's looking to rent. What about home partners? Maybe you get a referral from past clients. Hey, my daughter, my son, my nephew is looking to rent a house in Tampa. How can you, help them? Put up your antenna for home partners. Maybe you have another agent in your office that is getting leads like crazy for that would match up with home partners, but they really have their business model set and they're not really that interested in doing home partners. You should reach out to them. To your point, you've got a client that can't get traditional financing, or I think your point is even better, Craig. They can get the financing, they just can't compete in the marketplace. And so be on, just keep your antenna up for home partner opportunities.
Well, that's my statement. Awareness gives you flexibility. I got a question online. Regina asks, how does the no appraisal work when the home buyer then goes to purchase the home? What does home partners do if the home doesn't appraise? It's a rock solid contract. Yeah,
it's a purchase offer at a set number. If the market, to your earlier point, if the market's going up 8-9%, we don't try to renegotiate that. So if their purchase offer is at 207, the house appraised at 225, we're selling it to them at 207. To your point, if the market tanks for whatever reason, let's hope that doesn't happen again, but if it does, they have no financial obligation to buy that house. They get their security deposit back and they move on. So
they stay in rent for another year.
Stay in rent for another year. See if the market returns. Yep.
And Christina, yes, the rent does go up every year, but it's stated in advance. They know exactly what year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 will be.
Right on the website. And that's 3.75%, Christina, for that raise.
So let's really not uncommon because standard lease has a 3% build-in rent increase per year anyway.
So let's go to proactive, and I'm going to start right off with the best strategy, and that is using your listings or another agent's listing in your office or another agent in the MLS that gives you permission to use their listing. Just think about it. All you're doing is bringing more eyes on their set. Of course, that's not a big issue now, but nevertheless, you're bringing a cash buyer to the table. You're bringing no appraisals to the table. You're bringing no finance contingency to the table. The only thing I need, listing agent, is I need a renter because my client will only buy the house if I can bring them a renter who wants to move into this house. So let me use your listing. I'll put it out on Craigslist, Facebook, and any other number of means. By the way, for Facebook ads that use listings, on average, they're spending about 40 cents to get a lead in per lead. Without it, they're spending closer to $1.10. So listing is the way to go.
Wow.
And we'll talk more about that in a bit. Again, if you got a listing, put a sign writer on it. I think, Craig, you have them at the office. They're free. And then here's a couple examples of Facebook ads that you can use with that listing. Craigslist also. Let me pause there, Craig, see if you want to add anything to the mix here.
Well, you're going to show us on the website where we can get this content.
Yep. Talk to your lender. If I were a lender and I was getting ready to deny someone, I would much rather say, hey, I can't approve you today, but I have an agent over at Bagans that can work with you. Let's go ahead and get you into that dream house that you wanted in the first place. And then, of course, that lender can stay working with them. So it's a much nicer message for the lender, in terms of the denial, because they're still getting into that house. Property management companies. This is one that you and I, Craig, talked about in 2014. Right now, they're getting an abundance of applications for any nice rental that happens to be out there. They can only put one family in a house, right? So, and of course, you can pay them a referral fee for those leads. So it's a little bit more sophisticated strategy, but it's an interesting one. It's been very productive.
I like it.
Yeah.
Bill, I was looking, and 33569 is Riverview zip code, which you are buying homes in. There are only 5 homes for rent in 33569.
And how many homes for sale?
11.
Wow, you're kidding me.
No, there's more than that. But when you build the criteria, this is not much available at all. So
absolutely, people love Riverview.
And guys, I just want our agents to be aware, because we have so many things, and I get blamed for this a lot. We give them so many opportunities. We give them too many opportunities, and they scatter and they can't focus. But we've really tried to drill down and said, focus on one lane. And guys, we haven't talked about this, but Home Partners is a lane in and of itself that some of you could just totally jump in on and say, this is what I'm going to do. Right. So I don't want you to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this, but a couple things we could probably drill down on. And I'll give you the bad parts too, but that'll come later.
That'll be a much shorter conversation.
Exactly.
I think it's really important. So let's go through the underwriting criteria for the consumers. So you're kind of aware, and I'm going to give you guys a formula that you can use. So have your pencil ready. You want to be able to calculate how much people can afford from a rent perspective, because of course, as Craig knows, as Mike knows, on our website, we put the rent right there, right? And so instead of filtering by price point, you're going to be filtering by their approved rent level. So minimum household income is $45,000. Minimum FICO, for a while there, Craig, was 620. It's back down to 580. So that's great news. Yeah, 600 in Orlando, but 580 in Lakeland and in Tampa. We had a couple more delinquency issues in Orlando, so we needed to pump that up a little bit. Bankruptcies only have to be discharged if they have a Chapter 7. There's no waiting period, so bankruptcy lawyers are not a bad sourcing model for this. Foreclosures do not have to be closed. They can be going through a foreclosure. And so that's another criteria. Proof of income is only 2 pay stubs. So you got that young millennial, just got their first job, don't have that 2-year work history yet, don't have that down payment yet. And so those are the things that you want to screen with the consumer. I would say, Craig, the biggest one, though, the 2 biggest ones are, make sure they have those security deposit right up front. That's really important.
And it's just a 1-month security deposit, right?
It's a 2 months. It's a 2 month. Yeah. So they need to make sure they have that, because once we get an accepted offer from the seller, they have to send us in the security deposit, right? Because we're getting ready to spend money. And so we need to make sure they're a serious tenant at that point. We will close the deal. We'll walk away from the deal if they don't get us that security deposit within 48 hours. So that's really important.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's important to keep in mind. That way we haven't spent money and we haven't wasted the seller's time. Also, make sure they have a good 45 to 60 days before they need to move. That's really important. We're not going to be able to find them a house, put in an offer, close on the house, and get it ready for them to move in a week. That's not going to happen. So you should ask them right up front. And to your point, Craig, the market is so competitive, maybe we don't win that first deal. Maybe we have to go to the second deal, right? So make sure they have a good 45, 60 days. Make sure they have that 2-month security deposit. Make sure they have that proof of income right up front, which is the 2 pay stubs, or last year's tax return and 6 months bank statements if they're self-employed. So once you've done that pre-screening with them, again, we've talked about the primary ways of generating leads outside of social media, using listings, talking to property management companies, and talking to lenders. So once you've done that pre-screening,
let me stop you there, because
yeah.
I mean, there were some nuggets right there. Reach out to property management companies and let them know when you'll pay them a referral fee, guys.
Yeah.
So if I get 10 applications on one rental and all I do is property management, I don't sell houses, send me your applicants. That's a big nugget. And he also said bankruptcy lawyers.
And I hate to say this, but divorce lawyers.
And divorce lawyers too.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to buy in the next couple of years, but I want to keep my kids in those schools. I want to keep them in this neighborhood, but we have to sell this house, right? Or it's in foreclosure. And again, we do not require foreclosure to be closed as long as they have that 580 FICO. And frankly, when you think about it, good that we don't require that foreclosure to be closed, because after it goes through, they probably won't have a 580 FICO.
That's right.
So let's get it while they still have that 580 FICO and that proof of income. But I think for property management firms, you're right on target, because that's a whole new revenue stream for them that they don't even know they have. And it's referral fees, right, coming from your agents to them.
And this is where you scratch my back, I scratch yours type of thing. So if you're working with property management companies, like those of you that refer business to Rent Solutions, for example, scratch their back, they'll scratch yours.
Absolutely. We good there, Craig?
We're good.
Okay. So first step, once you've generated that lead, you've had that conversation. I mean, you're going to already have your normal conversation with them in terms of discovery, how many bedrooms, how many baths, what community you want to be in. But in addition to that, by the way, that's exciting for a renter, right? Why are you asking me about those things? Because I'm going to shop the MLS, right? It's not like I have 3 houses to rent to you and you're lucky to get in any of them. We're going to shop the MLS. So the fact that you're asking about bedrooms and bathrooms and backyards and garages and school systems is really important. But then make sure you do that pre-screening. I think it's really best, as long as you have a good feeling through the pre-screening. Craig, you tell me. I think it's really best to meet them at a house for that first conversation, even before they're pre-qualified. Ideally, they're pre-qualified through the conversation you've had with them. But we hear from agent after agent after agent, when you meet them at a house, maybe it's an open house you're doing this Sunday or whatever, it really drives home the point that you're going to be shopping the MLS, right? It's not only this house, but I can show you, many more.
Yeah.
Make sure you send them an invitation. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. It's in your broker portal. I'll show you how to navigate your broker portal. You need to send them a link through your broker portal, because that's what's going to lock them in with you. The last thing you want to do is invite someone to learn about Home Partners. They go ahead and apply. They don't put your name in. Another agent gets a deal, and there's nothing you can do about it. So make sure you send that invitation to them, have them apply, complete that application. Chad Dixon did 120 deals with us over the last couple of years. And so he talks about why it's really important for him. All right. So let's talk about the pain points for potential residents. So Craig's already hit most of these. Limited inventory out there. They apply for one property management firm. They end up not having anything to rent to them, so they have to apply to another one. Rent increase uncertainty. And so with Home Partners, you're offering an expanded inventory. It's just one application. If that first deal falls through, we go to the next deal, just like a buyer. And then, as Craig pointed out, We're going to show them the entire 5-year rent schedule. We're going to show them the entire 5-year purchase rate schedule up front. And they've got the security of knowing that for the next 5 years, I can either buy this house or I can live in it as a tenant. By the way, Craig, if they don't buy the house with us in 5 years, they can still stay as a tenant. They just lose their purchase rate.
Very cool.
And then of course we'll do a mark to market of the rent at that point.
Bill, Chris just joined, I can see. And Chris, will you talk to Mike Wiles about this? I mean, I'm just on the lead generation side right now. When a loan officer, and you guys as a company, I don't know how many loan officers we deal with, hundreds. We need to have a conversation with all of them that they come across a buyer who can't qualify for a loan, that they need to send them to you, and you can get them into a home with Home Partners, and then we'll give them back to them as a lead for a loan when the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year lease option is up. I think Mike Wiles would get a kick out of that, Chris. So if you bring that up to him, if you see him today, that'd be very cool.
Yeah, and Craig, we also have some templates that they can use in terms of emailing the prospective, the applicant, the denied applicant, to let them know, and that's compliant with RESPA.
Okay, I got a couple questions on that. So Regina asked, we're at criteria for business owners. You said it was 1-year tax return and
6-month bank statements.
6 months worth of bank statements.
And then we'll average the income over that 6 months.
And what's the FICO score required for Sarasota?
Sarasota is also 580.
580 as well.
Yep.
And Pamela said, what's the difference between you and Divvy? They're similar.
We're good. Look, I don't want to talk about competition. That's me saying what's the difference between Century 21 and Sotheby's, right? I mean, but
Right.
Here's what I do know. And then you guys can do your own analysis. The consumer is putting no upfront money with us. All they're putting up is security deposit. All they're paying is the application fee. If they decide not to buy that house for whatever reason, the market went down, they got a job offer in Dallas, they decided that's not the neighborhood they want to be in, they're not walking away from anything, right? They're just letting the lease expire, getting their security deposit back, and moving on. And I think that's really, those are the big differences. You're not putting any money up front, and you're not walking away from anything you decide not to buy.
And one more question said, what
And
about?
by the way, we're buying 2.3 billion. I don't know how much Divvy's buying, but it's not nothing like that.
It's not that much.
Not that
What about evictions? If a tenant has an eviction?
5 years since the eviction.
That's fine. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. All the questions are brought up.
No surprise. That's probably the biggest thing we're concerned about. Is someone who's perpetually getting,
Yeah. This is a business.
We are landlords. It is a business. I think relocation is another great opportunity. I think more and more and more, this word of job security is a big deal, right? I don't want to get locked into a 30-year mortgage right now. I don't want to build new right now because I'm locating to Tampa to get this new job, but I'm not very comfortable that I'm going to be in this job for a long time. Hopefully I am, but I'd rather test drive the job first. I love to tell the story about the young doctor who moved from New York down to Madeira Beach. He had several job offers. And so he was concerned that if he bought the house in Madeira Beach and decided to accept the job offer up in Tampa, right, he would be stuck. And so this gave him an opportunity to see, is this really the right job for me? If it is, great, I'll buy the house from Home Partners. If it isn't, I'll just wait for the year up, commute a little bit, and accept the other job. So do I like my neighbors? That's always a fair question, right? Is this really the right neighborhood for me? I mean, yes, Bagans, the agent of Bagans really knows the Tampa metro market like the back of their hand. They did a great discovery with me to find out what I was looking for in a neighborhood. But actually, the final analysis, this turned out not to be the neighborhood I wanted to be in, right? I wanted to be a little bit closer to my job. I wanted to be in a different school district. So now let Home Partners take that risk instead of them taking that risk.
Try before you buy.
Yeah, exactly.
Bill, we're getting questions about pet restrictions and any dog breed restrictions.
Yeah, typical dog breed restrictions, pit bull, Rottweilers, Dobermans, and Mastiffs
Are not allowed?
are not allowed. Yeah.
Oh, no Mastiffs? I had a sweet Mastiff.
I love Mastiffs. Our neighbor has a Mastiff. What is the issue there, as you know, is they hand you a washcloth when you come into the house for dinner. So
Pets are allowed. Is there a number restriction?
three pets, weight 180.
Yeah, and you still have to deal with HOA restrictions, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about HOAs in a few minutes, but
That's
that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. That's probably the biggest deal for Florida. And I think it's creeping up the East Coast. First-time home buyers, I think everyone gets that. Craig, I have an agent in Orlando that's done really great. A lot of agents do home buyer seminars. How about doing lease purchase seminars?
Great idea. You could do it virtually, guys. You could do a Facebook Live lease purchase seminar and probably get dozens, if not multi-dozens of
What a
things.
great idea.
Mike, this would be a great topic for Marketing Monday, just to relive it with the agents again.
Yeah, what a great idea. I had an agent prior to COVID that liked to do wine tastings at the Total Wine stores because they have that room in the back that you can use for free. So he would invite 30, 40 people to come to a wine tasting specifically to learn about lease purchase.
Nice.
And his pitch was always, you want to renew that lease of yours for that $2,000 two-bedroom apartment downtown, or would you rather live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a pool in the backyard for $1,800?
No, Bill, one of the best, Mike creates a marketing post for the agents to send out every day. And one of the best ones we created recently was, send me your rent payment and I'll send you a list of homes you can buy for the same price.
Absolutely. So
that
this
would
is
totally
this is just a small spin on that, right?
Yep.
And I don't know about Tampa. I know here in Chicago, there has been a definite migration from the urban to the suburban.
Even my daughter's moving out of Chicago. Back this weekend.
To Chicago?
No, moving out of Chicago.
Yeah. Where's she moving to?
Riverview. That's the house I just bought. But she's in Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Right now, she left Lincoln Park last year and she moved to Gold Coast this year.
Yeah, my youngest daughter's in the Gold Coast.
I went there in November. It was pretty sad.
Yeah.
No greenery. It was cold. There were homeless people all over the place, and everything was shut down.
Yeah, we call that a typical day, Craig.
I'll turn my camera around if you want to see my backyard right now. Make you jealous.
So think about ways to getting to those. Another one you might want to think about is you have some great counseling agencies that are helping people get ready for home ownership. I would argue how much more seriously will they take their counseling if they're actually living in the home that they want to buy.
Wow, I like that.
Right? So I think that's a great opportunity. And of course, people who had a bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sale, going through a divorce, want to get back into a particular neighborhood, particular school system, but are not going to be able to get a mortgage. And to your earlier point, even if they got a mortgage, it would probably have so many layers on it that they're not going to be very competitive in the marketplace.
Lauren and Jen, we'll get to your questions. They're coming up.
So let me get to the website. Let me know if it comes up, Craig.
Wow, your desktop has no icons on it. That's impressive.
I've got so many screens in front of me. I'm just looking at one of them. So homepartners.com is the website. Can you see that, Craig?
Yep.
Good. If you are new to Home Partners, as Craig has implied some of you are, just go, let me log out. I got to move my screen here a little bit. Log out. All you have to do is hit the sign up button. Make sure you hit the agent side, don't hit the resident side. Fill out this very short form. Make sure you have your MLS ID number with you. It will then send you a confirmation email. Please look out for that confirmation email. As we all know, depending on our firewalls, it could end up in spam. So please look for that. And once you accept that confirmation email, your portal will be good to go.
All right, guys, this is like action item number one. If you don't have a Home Partners account right now, write it down, go to homepartners.com and sign up.
And we should say, right, Craig, never feed a Home Partners for anything, period, end the conversation. So just in case someone has that in the back of their mind, how much is this going to cost me? You only make money with home partners. Okay, so this is my
That's okay.
sandbox. This will bring you into your portal. So when you sign in, it's going to come into your dashboard, and this is your portal. A new feature, Craig, in the portal is your funnels right there.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool?
I like that.
Yeah. And then your leads are right here. So you can see they're reversed order by time. So you can see exactly where they're at in the process right there in front of you. Here's where you invite someone to apply. So let's say, we have an open house. Craig comes into my open house. He says, hey, I love the house. We love the neighborhood. We'd love to buy here, but we're not quite ready to buy. Would the owner consider, leasing this house for a year and then we can buy it? And your answer is, of course, no, because I'm going to have 11 offers by tonight. So no, but I have a client who would consider buying the house and renting it to you. Does that sound interesting to you? And oh, by the way, I can show you any other house available in the MLS, within your price range. Wow, that sounds really great. Fantastic. Then you come into your portal. And by the way, this is also an iPhone app and an Android app. You can invite people from there. Just go to Home Partners of America, hit invite, put in their email address. We'll just say Craig@yahoo.com. Yahoo still exists. I don't know. Is it still around?
I see it once in a while.
Put in any kind of custom message you want. Hey, Craig, great seeing you today at the open house. Here's that leases purchase program I was telling you about. The moment you hit send, they're locked in with you. The moment you hit send, they're locked in with you. So anytime they come back to Home Partners, even if they've gone away, we've had agents where the people moved out of town for 3 years, came back to town, decided they want to do Home Partners, they were still locked in with that agent. Okay. So
I just want to apologize to our agents for giving them so many opportunities. I mean, this is just, now you got to bring this up at an open house. But I'm telling you,
we have flyers. We have flyers for you. Mm-hmm. They'll get this email. What's that?
No, I was just, it's my awareness thing. This awareness gives you flexibility, options, and power. Just be aware, guys. It's all there for you.
They'll get this. I got back noise coming in.
Not for me.
Okay. They'll get this email message. I'm hearing my voice feedback to me.
It is a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just keep on going. All right. So back to your portal. As soon as I hit send, Craig will now be in my dashboard. Okay, good. Let's take a quick tour over here. Craig, you talked about the number one thing, make sure agents sign up. Also, I would really encourage you on a regular basis to encourage agents to take this certification class. It's right there in their portal, doesn't cost them a dime, and you can see it walks them through the entire process.
Okay, action item number 2, guys. If you haven't done this yet, make time.
Yeah, it's 45 minutes. And it'll walk you through an entire transaction.
You can do it in your PJs.
Don't send any photos of that. We also give you customizable print material, bifolds, postcards, flyers, door hangers. Any one of these can be downloaded into PowerPoint and then customized with your information. So if I go to the PowerPoint for the bifold, it will go ahead and download, open it up.
And you can add your contact information, which is very nice.
Yeah, put in your logo, put in your, make sure you're enabling, put in your photo, contact information, and your logo. Okay.
Super slick.
So let's go to the website. By the way, there are also some great Facebook templates here for you. And even a Facebook Live template. So these are 12 of the most successful Facebook ads that our agents have used over the years. Primarily, these are using listings, right? And we give you the text, we give you the headline, we give you the news feed, the call to action. It's all right there. And we also give you a UTM link that you can embed in the call to action. Okay, so let's go real quick. Let's go to Lakeland, see what's happening out there.
Hey, Mike, Bill, some questions popping up.
Yep.
They're asking lowest rental rate. I mean, there's really nothing under what?
Well, it's $1,250. It's $1,250, but there's nothing out there. There's nothing
out there for that.
Yeah.
Is the program limited to single family homes, or will mobile homes, condos, et cetera, be in the mix?
Only single family and townhomes.
Single family and townhomes.
Yeah.
And then the last question was, if a husband and wife both want to apply, but one has a lower credit score and the other has a higher score, what happens?
We weight average them. Whoever has the biggest income will get the biggest weight. So if you have someone at a 560, but the other one's at 640 and they make most of the income, they'll probably have a weighted score of 610.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you got the answers to all these questions. I guess you've heard them before.
Once or twice.
How many homes have you guys bought now? I think I forgot that number.
So I think we're at 19,300 now. A good month for us is anywhere between 400 to 800.
Well, it took us 28 years to get to 50,000 homes. So you're on a faster path than we are.
We're on the right path. Hey, we'll compare ourselves to you any day of the week. We'd be proud to do it. We'd be proud to do it. You guys have built an amazing organization there. So let's go high to low.
Look at that. Lakeland has a house for $1,150.
There you go. There you go.
That's what's going to happen, guys. It's called migration. People are going to have to move to further out areas.
Yeah.
It's like Las Vegas. You know, if you're a casino worker, you can't live in Las Vegas. You got to live 45, 50 minutes away and commute to work every day. And that's what's going to happen in our market because it's not becoming unaffordable, but it's becoming unaffordable to the masses.
Yeah.
So Lakeland literally can be a 45-minute drive to Tampa if the traffic's not bad. And if you can get a rental for $1,200 a month in Lakeland and you got to pay $1,800 a month here, that's called life. So once again, awareness.
You're probably aware that during COVID, we dropped the cap in Tampa to 350. It's now back up to 400.
Nice.
And I think it's going to jump up to 450 here in the next couple months. So, but in Lakeland, because it's a new market to us, we're at 275. Because
the highest you'll buy in Lakeland is 275,000.
You get a nice house in Lakeland for 275.
Right. And the highest you'll buy. So guys, there are restrictions. This is not, there's no catch-all, everything's perfect, la la land. 400,000 is the most expensive home partners will buy in Tampa right now.
Yep.
And includes St. Pete and Sarasota.
Sarasota is also 400,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go through the formula I promised you guys before. And if you could get this out in an email, Craig, I think it'd be helpful. So when the consumer applies and they're approved, we assign a rent number to them based on 35% of the household gross income. So let's do an example. Let's say they have a household gross income of $68,000. So if we take 35% of that, that's roughly $24,000. If we then divided that by 12, that's $2,000. So they would get an email from us saying, congratulations, you've been approved up to $2,000. So here in Lakeland, we'll put in a max rent of $2,000. Let me change that to 2,000. I can customize that. Let's say they want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. So now they have 200 houses to look at. There are not probably, my guess is, way better than me, there are probably not 200 nice houses to look like.
One of you are logged into MLS right now. Go look up Lakeland for rent and see how many houses are for rent. It's not 200 for sure.
It's not 200. And they're probably not that nice. We generally, when we're in a neighborhood, we're generally one of the few rentals available in that neighborhood. We pick a house. Let's take this one. And then your earlier point, there's your 5-year rent schedule. And there's your 5-year purchase rate schedule. By the way, that purchase rate schedule will be adjusted based on what we actually pay for the house. So if we end up paying $270 for this house, then that rent, the purchase rate will drop $5,000. The rent's the rent, though.
We got some more questions online. Let me just see if we get these. Does any percent of the payment go toward the renter's buyer's closing cost?
It's a fabulous question. So it's just a lease. That's all it is. We try to keep it really simple. I think that, again, that's what distinguishes us in the marketplace. If they decide not to buy the house, get their security deposit back. By the way, if they decide to buy the house, they get their security deposit back too. All right. And so, and they can buy that house anytime. So they could be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months into the lease and say, I'm ready to buy. The equity's there, right? The valuation is there. This is a gorgeous house, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it really is. And for $1,770 a month, holy cow, that's a hell of a deal. And you can see why using this listing would generate a ton of leads. Back to our earlier point. So if you had a Facebook ad, you know, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square feet in Lakeland, rent $1,770. Craig, you tell me how many leads you're going to get off of that.
A lot
of leads, right? And what I like about this approach of using listings is you're not going to get someone, you know, necessarily saying, I want to pay $800 a month, right? No, it's $1,700 a month, right? And so you'll get a higher quality lead depending on the price point of the house that you use to generate those leads.
Another question, Melissa said, if I've already taken the course but would like to refresh, is that available? Yeah, just
take it again.
Take it again.
Yeah, you can take it as many times as you want.
Jack is asking, what's the current application fee? Is it $75?
90. Let me double check for Tampa because we switched that. $75 per household, not per person.
$75. That's a big number.
Yeah,
good number.
Per household.
And then Virginia has really good questions to dovetail that same weighted credit score question.
Okay.
What if the one with the higher income is a business owner that was used to writing off most and showing very little income, but he has a higher score? The wife has a more secure job for over 20 years and decent W income in the 401k, but a much lower score. I mean, you do make exceptions on case-by-case basis, I'm sure.
Yeah, but you know, one thing I would say to, and you probably have this conversation with potential buyers all the time, at some point you're going to have to show your income. Right? Because you're never going to get a mortgage if you don't. And so we'll use the bank statements, but if they go to buy that house from us, they're going to need to build it. They're going to need to be able to document their income.
That's a good point. So they could get into Home Partners and not be able to qualify for the loan at any point if they don't start playing the game.
You got to play the game at some point. Uncle Sam needs to get paid.
Well, there's 8 new Bill. We've got huge engagements. There's 80-something people online.
I think it's my new haircut, Craig. I really do.
That must be it. Cheryl's asking, what about Orlando? You guys are in Orlando. Your credit?
Yes, but it's a 600 credit score in Orlando.
Minimum.
Everything else is the same.
Are you still doing only A-rated school districts?
So we've actually, we don't use school districts anymore. We quit doing that back in 2016, actually. We really look at market dynamics. So we're looking at house price appreciation. Obviously, we're looking at yields in those markets. You know, we're looking at the available inventory. You know, we obviously don't want to be in a market where every house is $1 million. How are we going to be there? So we're looking at much more market dynamics. Does that turn out to be the better high schools? In most cases, yes, but the high schools are not a factor. Now, we still map by high schools, right? So if we want to be in, you know, in a particular area, the mapping will be by that high school. But the qualification for that area will not be by high school.
Hey, just for fun, Pamela said there's 48 active rentals in Lakeland right now.
Versus 200.
But that's an entire city. That's not a lot.
Yeah.
Jared, this is a great question. Is the rental limit based on the first year rent only since the rents increase annually? So how do you handle that? Let's say they have a fixed income job, they qualify for the first rent, and then next year it goes up 3.5%.
Yeah, and that's why we're doing the 35% rent to income ratio as opposed to a 40%, which a lot of landlords will do because we want to keep them within their affordable range.
Beautiful. Good answer. Thank you, Deborah.
And by the way, that's also the one that's going to translate best to an FHA mortgage, right? Which now they can do anytime they want. They can take all the time in the world. There's no one to compete with now.
What's the price cap in Orlando?
Orlando price cap is also 400.
400?
Yeah. Deltona is 300. And as we saw, Lakeland is 275.
How about 55 plus communities? No, you don't buy in those, right?
No.
Homes on acreage,
2 acres max.
2 acres max, gated communities, CDDs.
As long as they're comfortable with us as the landlord. That's kind of gets back to your HOA issue that you wanted to address.
Yeah, so we need to talk about that. So the HOA can have 0 rental restrictions, period.
Period.
Right. And home partners will diligently read the homeowners association documents. And if there's any hint that the association has the ability to limit rentals, the number of houses, the percentages for rent, it's not an option.
Yeah.
I mean, just go there. It's not an option. So
Not.
those of you as an office, we've tried to get into this farming gig and have our agents be the experts in their communities. Knowing rental restrictions is really, really important.
Yeah.
Lakeland homes and townhomes, 1,400 square feet plus, only 12, between 1,500 and 2,295 a month. Yep, Dick, we answered that. No 55 over communities.
Yeah.
So diligence on your part, guys, is you need to find out if the HOA has any rental restrictions before you start marketing homes in those areas, because you're going to be heartbroken because they're going to say no. And it's not them being bad. We're telling you the rules up front. Christina, you don't need another day with this. You can just watch the training. It'll help you a lot. It's actually very thorough and very good.
Craig, would it be helpful at all, without giving away any privacy issues, to kind of show you where we bought in Tampa?
Yes, it would.
Okay. And I can move
Because
this.
guys, I mean, I've heard the agents complain that, well, the home partners is no good because they don't buy in our area. Well, look at where they do buy. And this is what I said. If you're going to pick a lane and focus on it, this is really good information to have. So they're not going to buy in Apollo Beach, right? I don't know why. Our prices
We
are
tried.
You need to try again because our prices are really going up. But anyway, but you can see Riverview is hot. Brandon's hot. Central St. Pete is hot. Clearwater's hot. Palmetto is good. Bradenton is good. South Sarasota is good. So, just do your diligence. Do a little bit of research.
Great. Just thought you might like to see that. We're at about 2,400 houses between Tampa and Orlando now.
Wow. That's what we did last year.
Really? On sites? That's fantastic.
2,340 actually.
That's fantastic. What else can I answer for your agents, Greg? There's that certification class that we talked about, so I'll leave that up there.
Is the Home Partners website updated? Show us how to shop on the website. Did you do that?
Yeah, sure. So let's go to Tampa. And it is important to keep in mind, this is a public website. There's no firewall that they have to go through. They don't have to register if they just want to come to the website and shop around.
So what that means is, guys, if you don't register your customers and you just leak out that Home Partners is your buyer, they can go find them on their own and find a house. And if they find a house, Home Partners will assign them to an agent who's already a member, and you are cut out of the deal.
You are cut out of the deal.
You need to send them a link from your portal, which means you need to register for the site. And then you need to register them on your portal to lock them into you. If you when you put your Facebook, you don't say, hey, I'm an agent with Home Partners of America, you're dead, because they'll find Home Partners of America. They'll shop on their own. They'll be assigned to an agent. And it's really nice. Also, Bill, I want to say this. You guys are very agent friendly. I mean, you set this thing up from the beginning that agents get the commission. Now if the MLS commission is only 1%, you're only getting 1%.
Right.
But you're going to get what the MLS is offering.
Yeah, it was actually one of our earlier insights that we got from Realogy about how to do this. Should we just go out and buy our own houses and rent them? Of course, Realogy argued, no, you should use our agents. And it turned out to be the best decision we've ever made. Because when you think about it, we don't really have a marketing department. We have a training department, right?
Yeah, we're your marketers.
You guys are the marketers. And who knows better how to market in Tampa than an agent with Craig Bagans, right? That's who knows how to market. And of course, one thing I will point out, Craig, what is the biggest mistake that agents make with us? Not inviting people to apply is probably number one. The second one is they don't bring us good real estate.
Right.
Right. And so it either gets turned down, in inspection, and we waste a lot of time, or, the person gets into the house and they can't wait to get out of it. And now we're stuck with a bad rental.
Right.
And we're going to remember that, right? The agents that bring us great real estate, we work with and we move through very quickly. The agents that bring us marginal real estate constantly, maybe it's their listing, they can't get anyone else to buy it. And if you can't get anyone to buy your house in this market,
It's not for you.
it's not for Home Partners.
Hey, Bill, my mom asked pool homes. I forgot the answer to that question.
Pools are fine.
Pools are fine. That's incredible.
Yeah, $100 monthly a pool maintenance fee in addition to the rent, and we maintain the pool.
Perfect.
We do not give the consumer the right to maintain the pool for reasons that you understand.
Lauren, I hate the word all. Her question is, so all of the homes shown meet all of their criteria? No.
I'm glad she asked it that way, though. The answer is no, right? I don't know how to screen. I would love if your MLS had a box that said crappy house. That would be great, right? But I don't know how to screen for that. I don't know how to screen for the HOA.
So these are likely to be approved for Home Partners, so long as the house is in decent condition and the rental, there's no rental restrictions in the community.
Those are the two biggies.
Right? Just as a rule, guys, all does not count. There's always an exception to something.
Always. By the way, back in your dashboard, I do want to point out under training, we have these PDF guides. Craig, one of those is on property criteria. So you can open this guide.
There's the guide. Somebody asked that question earlier. Let me see who it was. I saved it in my Q&A. Do you have a pre-qualification list we could get? There it is.
Yep.
In the training guide.
So this is for the property. Everything you'd ever want to know about a Home Partners house, all the restrictions, flood zones, HOAs, really everything you need to know. And then here's the one for residents, applicants. And by the way, Craig, a lot of our agents email this to consumers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Let them
Now be careful though, because it says Home Partners of America on it. And if you don't have them registered, do not share this information.
Absolutely.
Register first, then share the information.
But there's your income verification that we talked about. These are the pre-qual questions that we ask them when they register. So really everything they would need to know is right here for them. Those are both in your portal under training in PDF guides.
All right, guys, this has been very educational and very enlightening for me again, because once out of sight, out of mind, we haven't talked about this stuff in a while.
Yeah.
And this is not another lane to join. This is a potential lane to master. And I guarantee you, when you really learn the content here, it's an amazing tool. Puma will probably address this on Monday. And we'll go through some of this. They've done everything for you. I mean, it really is. And I do want to stress, because I'm a big Realogy fan. And of course, I'm a big Century 21 fan. But this is a partnership that Realogy put together for us. And like I said, Jimmy and I were talking about RealSure yesterday, which is our iBuyer program through Realogy, which is partnered by Home Partners as well. Yeah. So under RealSure, we will give you a cash offer on your listing. And then we will give your seller, who's now a buyer, a cash offer to purchase their next house so they don't get beat out. We have some amazing systems and tools through Realogy, which we just, we've lost awareness of. Jan says HPA is a great company and Bill's a great guy. He is. Neil, outstanding. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Bill, I do want to bring up one negative, and just you're calling it out. I've heard in the marketplace that the property management, when a tenant has a problem, that Home Partners has not been very responsive, and that kind of comes back on the agent sometimes.
Yep.
So I know that's not your intention for.
No. I'm thrilled you brought it up, because you got to get it out, right? And so we went through a major revamping of Pathlight. Is the name of our property management company that is a subsidiary of Home Partners, a wholly owned subsidiary. And so we now have an entire resident response team. We actually have 35 people working in that team. The residents can now initiate their work orders online in their portal. And so hopefully that history is gone. I want to say this right up front, only because I'm talking to you and your team. You've got my contact information. Don't underutilize it. Okay. There's no one in Home Partners that won't respond to a inquiry from me. And so if you've got an issue, hopefully they start disappearing now. Hopefully the reorganization and the tools, we spent over $7 million putting together a new communications platform for them. Hopefully that all works. But if you ever have an issue, there is my contact information. Craig knows how to get a hold of me. He's emailed me a bunch of times. Let's go ahead and make sure you use that wisely.
Here's a good question from John. Can we still submit a property that's not on your site?
Absolutely, FSBOs. But please, John, and let me go to here, back to the website.
Do your research. Make sure there's no rental restrictions.
No rental restrictions, and make sure it's in a qualified area. So just come here under agents, go to address checker. Everyone with me?
Yep.
Agents, address checker. Type in the address. It has every address in America in here. And you click on, search. So I'll put in mine, which I know is not an approved area, but I'll put it in anyway. So that's where I live. Write that down. Not that interesting.
We go to Zillow. We go to Zillow and see what your house is worth.
It's doing pretty good. It's doing pretty good. And then, it'll tell you, okay, that's not in an approved area, right? But if you put in, let's go back to the website. Let's take one from Tampa. Let's say this was a non-listed first or a FSBO. FSBO, by the way, Home Partners is great for FSBOs, right? Hey, I can bring you a cash offer. I just need to be able to market your house to renters.
Look up 10204 Rain Bridge.
You got it.
10204 Rain Bridge. One word.
Right here? Riverview?
Yep.
Okay, so that's an approved area. And by the way, if it's a FSBO and you want to determine what the rent would be, you can just go to the rent estimator, get some basic information, the address, obviously, the estimated value, taxes, HOAPs, and it will give you the 5-year rent schedule for that property.
Very cool. All right, guys, we are 6 minutes over time. Jared said, I tried to register online, but when it asked for a company name, it said there's no registered company. BE3. So we have a new franchise bill called Century 21 BE3, not Beggins Enterprises.
Okay, just
Jared,
send it over to me now. But he should be able to type it in. He should be able to click and type it in or select other.
Pamela said the same thing. Okay, so what do I need to do? Send you an email and
send me an email and I'll send you the steps they need to take.
Okay. I'm glad you guys are trying. That's good. Okay, I think we're going to shut this down. One more Q&A. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about this. Guys, no, I'm sorry. I wish. Regina said, what about inventory homes from builders? Can you purchase directly? And the answer is no, unless they'll sign a Florida form contract.
Exactly.
Most builders will not do.
Right. And it's got to be move-in ready. By the way, unless it's Pulte, Pulte has accepted our addendum.
Really? That's good news.
Yeah, Pulte will work with us.
Pamela said she cannot type it in.
Okay.
Well, I'll hit you with an email. So
I'll send you the directions. Yeah.
I wonder if, you're all under Beggins Enterprises. Try putting Century 21 Beggins Enterprises in and see if that works, because you should be under Beggins Enterprises as well. Regina said, if we're registered from last year, we still good? The answer is yes.
Forever.
Okay. I will send Bill an email quick. Actually, Bill, I'm going to give you a quick call. This was fun today. We got to do this more often.
Yeah. And by the way, same offer is to Mike. If you guys want to do that, what's worked best from a social media perspective, happy to do it.
Pamela said Beggins Enterprises didn't work either. So, okay, I'll hit you with an email.
Okay. Talk to you guys.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good day today.
Have a great day.